If you're an athlete, you know the greatest motivator of all is the fear of letting your teammates down. After all, a team is only as good as its weakest link. So you owe it to those wearing the same jersey as you to be your best every time you step on the field. That's why there's no vape in team. When you vape, you can expose your lungs to toxic chemicals that can damage your lungs. If you're a step behind, the team's a step behind. Brought to you by The Real Cost and the FDA.
Alright, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show, and in today's episode, there's this ongoing debate with the video game Helldivers because people are questioning whether or not this game deserves Game of the Year. Now, there has been a lot of talk with what game does deserve Game of the Year, and I would have to say probably the game that's gonna get it, in my opinion, is this new game that came out called, let me find it, Black Myth Wukong. Now, I don't know too much about this game, but it does look like one of them like Elden Ring type games, and I feel like when games like that in this day and age come out, it usually ends up doing pretty good. So, like, I mean, you sit down and think about it, look at Elden Ring, and look how successful that game's been. And that game came out, didn't that game come out, like, in the height of the pandemic? When did that game come out? Let me check real quick, because I know it's on the, like, front page, not front page, well, it might as well be on the front page of Steam, but anyways, yeah, that game came out back in 2022, so it was like the aftermath. I feel like 2022 was the year where things had went back to normal, but that game, how long, let me look that up real quick, how long that game was in production. Now, Elden Ring ain't my all-time favorite game. I would have to say, like, this year, that was, in my opinion, that was one of the worst games that I played, because you can't progress through nothing. They want to make it where every boss that you fight up in that game is, like, the most challenging stuff ever, and it's like, fam, I'm just trying to enjoy a game. And I'm going to talk on that at some point in time, video games like that, and on why I personally believe that they deserve like a difficulty change. But anyways, how long was Elden Ring in development? I hate when I like search up something and then they're all like it just goes and clicks on something completely different. It's like, fam, I know what I clicked on, all right? So anyways, they said for 5 years before being released to the public in February 2022, development began in 2017. So they had, alongside the action adventure game I think it's Sekiro, or I think it's Sekiro. Shadows died twice. But anyways, so you had 2017, you had 2018, 2019, 2020, and I'm like, fam, I'm surprised there was any video games that got developed that year. Then 2021, and then it comes out in 2022, and it ends up being one of the best games to come out that year. And it's still one of the most top-selling games to still be in stores and stuff. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy on how many times I've seen people that don't really play it, especially with this new DLC that then came out. It's just crazy to see how many people have played that game and stuff, and then on how many different ways I've seen people play that game. I seen one guy play the game where he had his goldfish playing it. I seen one girl playing it with one of them like Dance Dance Revolution boards. What are some other ways? I think one person was using their mind. Like, I done seen so many different ways of people playing that game, and it's like, it's insane. But anyways, and I think that's this new Black Myth Wukong Black Myth, whatever that game is called. Hold on for a second, because I want to say, if I'm gonna say the name, I'm gonna say it right. But anyways, yeah, Black Myth Wukong. But I think that's gonna be the game that's gonna get Game of the Year. When you look at that game, and it's currently sitting at an overwhelmingly positive, and that's on, like, this game just came out this past week, August 19th, or maybe, yeah, it was this past week. It was in the beginning of the week. It was Monday. This game came out Monday, and it's already sitting at an overwhelmingly positive rating, and it has over 300,000 reviews, overwhelmingly positive reviews. But yeah, it's sitting at over 300,000 reviews versus Helldivers 2. Let's just see where that game is currently at right now when it comes to reviews. Yeah, the recent reviews is mixed, and then it's sitting at a mostly all reviews. It's sitting at a mostly positive with over 600,000 reviews. So my thing is this. Helldivers 2, when it came out, well, you know what? Actually, you know what? No, I was getting ready to say some stuff, and I was about to just flat out lie to you guys. Yeah, when Helldivers 2, I guess, was popular, if this game would have never, this Black Myth Wukong game, if it never would have came out, I don't think that, since it is out, then yeah, most likely, like I said, it is going to get Game of the Year. But if it wasn't going to get, if it didn't come out, then yeah, probably Helldivers 2 would be a good nominee for being Game of the Year. But at the same time, it's like you got to look at how it was when that game very first came out, and that was the point that I was going to get to on why I personally believe that game isn't going to get Game of the Year. It'll be nominated for Game of the Year, but I personally don't think it's going to win Game of the Year. I think if it does win Game of the Year, then maybe I'm just missing out on something or something's rigged. But I just don't personally believe that game's going to get Game of the Year. But anyways, when you look at how Helldivers 2, when it came out, the game was buggy. It was, nobody could play it. It was like you either, and then on top of that, then it was like you had to wait for them to come out with updates in order to play the game. And that's the thing where I'm all like, I'm not big on games like that now. I'm not big on the games where it's all like, I gotta wait for all these different updates. And I'm like, bruh, I'm trying to play a game. You know, when you sit down and you look at games that came out back in like the PlayStation 1, 2, some PlayStation 3 games, same with Xbox and some Xbox 360 games, you didn't have to wait for no updates to play a game. You either was playing that game or you wasn't playing that game. But it's like I never heard of a game coming out during that era of gaming and then you wasn't able to play it because, oh, the servers were messed up or there's all these different bugs that need to be fixed about the game and we got to fix those bugs before. No, developers made sure that when we're coming out with a game, we're going to make sure that it is a properly working, functional game. It ain't going to be no stuff where it's like, oh, you're going to have to wait for about 5 to 10 updates in order to play the game. That's crazy. That is some insane stuff. And there's probably still, till this day, but I mean, I even had seen that with this new Black Myth game where it's like somebody was saying that in the reviews that I guess like for them, the game isn't, it's crashing on the first boss. And I'm like, man, that's crazy. And I was actually going to try to pick up the game today and play it because a lot of people have been saying that it's good, but I'm not trying to have like no Elden Ring crap. Like if you're going to have it where I'm playing this game, and that's like, I really want to talk about it now. I should just talk about it now, but I'm like, I'm going to talk on that difficulty stuff in another episode and things. But anyways, but no, it's like that game has caught my attention. It's captured my eye. And that's something where I'm like, it takes a lot for a video game to do some stuff like that, especially in this day and age where it's like a lot of video games that come out, they're not really all that good. And I even seen where some indie games then came out and they're not all that good. And I feel like that right now, that's where the spotlight is on, like where like it's at right now. It's on the indie developers. And I'm saying like even playing video games from indie developers and they're not good. Like it's something where I'm like, fam, like I don't get that. Like that I don't get that. And so when I look at games, yeah, like yeah, this Black Myth Wukong game, and it got good reviews. Everybody's been playing it. Everybody's been liking it. It's a fresh game. It's new. Yeah, I think that's gonna be the game that's gonna get Game of the Year. But a game that's been out for some time, and it's like, it doesn't really have a whole lot of stuff to do in there, at least with this Black Myth game. It's like, yeah, there's all these different bosses and enemies that you could go up against, and then just these different environments that you can explore, because I think it is like one of those like free roaming open world games. I think it is or does Black Myth Wukong allows, how do you spell? Okay, I don't know why I was spelling it always and I'm like, that's not how you spell allow. But anyway, or yeah, that's like my brain wasn't braining and things. Does Black Myth Wukong allow you to free? Why is people saying play Elden Ring? Why would that just doesn't even make any sense. But anyway, it's free roam. Free roaming combat is open world, or it's not an open world game. While there's plenty of variety in Black Myth Wukong, it is not open world. The game's progression is fairly linear, taking you to different biomes in each chapter. Well, I mean, I mean, I guess I don't know, but still though, it's in even games like that. I even like games like that because I had to say one game that reminds me of is Uncharted. Like that was a video game where I'm like I played, especially the first one, bro. I played that game so many different times on my PlayStation 3. I'm like I'm surprised I haven't gotten all the achievements, both 1 and 2. I never did get a chance on playing 3 and 4 and stuff, but anyways, but no, overall though, it's all like games like that where it's an adventure game. It takes you on an adventure. That's when games are successful. That's when games are like it leaves you feeling like you're watching a movie or something, you know? And then with Helldivers 2, it's like, yeah, the game, it's fun. And I would have to say, like, it's definitely fun when it comes down to playing it with friends. But when it comes down to just like, okay, you play the game, you do everything you need to do, now what? And it's like, I mean, there's a lot of games that's out that's like that and stuff, and I think that's when it has a lot to do with like, okay, how long am I going to be playing this game? Because I feel like that you could play Helldivers one time and you could do everything that you need to do, and that's what you're going to be doing when you're thinking of like, okay, you play it for the first time, and is this going to be a game where you're putting hundreds upon hundreds of hours into it? Whatever it is that you're doing in Helldivers 2, it's like that's just gonna be the same thing over and over again. You killing off a bunch of enemies, you're completing some objectives, that's it. You know, and I'm not trying to downplay that, but at the same time, I'm like, there needs to be new things to do in that game in order for that game to be even considered in that conversation of being game of the year. But if it's like just the same old, okay, you spawn into an area, you take out a bunch of enemies, you complete some objectives, and then you go on about your business, it's like after a while, that does get boring. I'm gonna be keeping the buck with you. That it gets boring after a while. So it's like, and then with this, and I know people are gonna probably be all like, well, I imagine that's gonna how it's gonna be with Black Myth Wukong. It's like, okay, you beat it, then what? And it's like, and I feel like, okay, and if you look at how Elden Ring was, it's like, yeah, there's people that, and I feel like that you can challenge yourself, and I mean, you can overall do that. It's really up to the gamers on how you're gonna play a game and appreciate a game and all that stuff. But I feel like the difference between Helldivers 2 and Black Myth Wukong is that at least with that game there is different ways of like going about fighting the enemy. I feel like that it's, in my opinion, it's a little bit more rewarding compared to Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2, it's like, yeah, you have to like keep doing the same stuff over and over and over again in order to unlock something. Meanwhile, in Black Myth Wukong, I imagine it's most likely like Elden Ring, where it's like after you defeated the boss, you gain something from that boss, or you gain some sort of XP or just something in order. It's like when you play it the next time you go up against a different boss or some other enemies, it gets a little bit easier and stuff. Versus with like Helldivers 2, it's just, it's like after a while, like I got bored of that game, and and it's just one of those things where I'm all like, I can't consider, if I'm that person in charge of like what's gonna be game of the year, it will be a good nominee, but it's not, in my opinion, it's not gonna be game of the year, where it's like it had a bumpy start, it's having a bumpy ending right now, and it's like I'm not trying to have it where it's like, okay, I have this like list of games that deserves game of the year when there's so many other games that's like on this list that in my opinion, that deserves game of the year. Because I'm like, one game that I have been playing a lot of, and I know people will probably look at it as like, well, that's not really a game that's going to be considered game of the year, but I'm like, it's been occupying my time. But anyways, Crime Scene Cleaner, that's a game where I'm all like, okay, that would be a decent game to be considered for game of the year. And I'm just honestly going based off of like my list of video games that like, there's this new like, it's a game kind of like Call of Duty Zombies, but Skier Ritual, that was a pretty decent game. Well, I think that, when did this game come out? Did it come out this year or last year? Oh yeah, this game did come out this year and stuff. I wish they just had like a thing of like list of games that came out this year, because I'm like, that game Skier Ritual, that was actually a solid game. But I think they like new and trending. Okay, let's see like new releases and stuff. But yeah, like Black Myth Wukong, I say that's a game where I'm all like, yeah, it deserves game of the year. Let's see some other games. I mean, even though this game's been out for, I think, it's been out for pretty much over a decade, but it did have like its full release this year, 7 Days to Die. I mean, I guess, like, if people want to put that on I don't think that, no, that's not, that don't count. I'm like, that game's been out for a solid minute now, so. But Supermarket Simulator, that would be a game where I would say like it would be on that list of game of the year. Once Human, I do see a lot of people playing that game. Still Wakes of the Deep, I think that's a pretty solid story game. I'm like, that game doesn't have me invested in stuff. I was like, being stuck out on an oil rig out in the middle of the ocean, yeah, it seems like some crazy stuff. But anyways, let's see some other games. They really don't have like a whole lot of games. I hate when games and they show like the cover art and it looked like one game, then when you see the preview of it, then it doesn't even look like the game that they're showing in the cover art. And it's like, fam, straight, I'm so glad they have it where you ain't got to click on it, because I'm like, that's just flat out clickbait, bro. But anyways, but yeah, there's like a lot of games in my opinion that deserves to be on the list. I mean, yeah, Helldivers 2, it's like, you want to put it on that list, you very well can. But as far as like winning game of the year, I don't know. It's like, when I look at it, it's like I look at other games that just got more content, more things to do, and then it's like stuff to work towards. I mean, yeah, Helldivers 2 is the same way, but I just feel like that the developers, they're not really taking it serious, you know? Like, they're not coming out with new things to do and new enemies and all these other new, like, yeah, they have came out with some, like, a few new enemies and stuff, but it's like, you're buffing weapons, and I'm like, I just don't get that in a game where it's all like, okay, you want people to play more of the game, buffing the weapons and having it where it takes a little bit longer to kill the enemies. That's not going to make me want to continue playing the game. That's going to make me want to turn the game off and never play it again. So it's like, there's just things that they should work on with that game. But having it on that same conversation as a game where it's like, in my opinion, this looks like a game that's like fully functional. It's working. It got an overwhelmingly positive rating, and it just came out this week. And I think when Helldivers 2, when that game came out, it was like, it was sitting at, it was either in the negatives or it was at a mixed rating. Currently, right now, it's at mostly positive. But I remember when that game came out, it wasn't at no positive, all right? So, anyways, yeah, it's just, I think, you know, after some time, like, maybe if they come out with a few more stuff this year, then, yeah, then I'm like, you know, then, but if it's like, if it's one of those things where it's just, they don't do nothing, I'm like, then, nah, I don't think it's one of those games where I'm like an honorable mention, maybe even a nominee, but I wouldn't say it's going to win Game of the Year, and that's just my own personal opinion. It's no offense to the game, and matter of fact, I played Helldivers 2. I haven't played this Black Myth Wukong game yet, but I'm curious to about it. I'm open to the idea of playing it and stuff, but anyways, with that being said, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. Stay tuned for the next episode. Like, subscribe, viewing this on YouTube. Follow, subscribe, viewing this on a podcast streaming service. Thank you guys, and peace.